What happens when a corrupt system targets the wrong disabled veteran? Meet Mara Quinn, a 22-year-old Navy SEAL, and her highly trained German Shepherd, Titan. When street thugs attack a wheelchair-bound Gulf War hero, they don't expect a one-woman tactical strike. Witness an explosive story of loyalty, tactical precision, and a deadly fight for justice against a multi-billion-dollar conspiracy. Will her elite military training be enough to protect him? Click play to find out.
What are you going to do, old man? Going to roll away from us? The slap echoed across the boardwalk. Elliot Grayson's head snapped sideways. Blood trickled from his split lip. His wheelchair rocked as the second punch landed against his ribs. Tourists kept walking. Phones pointed. Nobody moved. 3 young men circled him like wolves, laughing, shoving. One kicked the wheel hard enough to tip him. "Please," Elliot's voice cracked. "I'm a veteran." "Nobody cares what you are." Then a woman's voice cut through everything. Cold, precise, final. "Touch him again, and you won't walk out of here." The tallest thug turned around, saw her, saw the German Shepherd beside her, and laughed. Before you hear what happened next, hit that subscribe button. Stay until the very end of this story, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this message travels. The woman didn't raise her voice. Didn't need to. I said, "Step back." Mara Quinn stood 15 feet away, 22 years old, dark hair pulled back tight, olive tactical shirt, desert camo pants. No badge visible, no weapon showing. But everything about her posture said military. The German Shepherd at her side, Titan, didn't bark, didn't growl, just watched. Focused. Like he'd been trained to assess threats before eliminating them. The tallest attacker, maybe 6'3", gym-built, neck tattoos, looked her up and down. "You his girlfriend or something?" "I'm someone giving you a chance to walk away." "Yeah?" He stepped toward her. "What if I don't feel like it?" Elliot tried to straighten himself in the wheelchair. His hands shook. "Miss, don't! They're not worth—" "Sir." Mara's eyes never left the 3 men. "I need you to stay still." The second attacker, shorter, wiry, meth-thin, circled to her left. "Bro, she got a dog. I ain't messing with no dog." "It's just a dog, Marcus." The tall one grinned. "What's it gonna do? Bark at us?" Titan's ears flattened. Still no sound. Mara's voice dropped lower. "Last chance." "Or what?" "Or I make you regret every decision that led you to this moment." The third guy, heavyset, slower, laughed nervously. "Yo, Devin, maybe we should just—" "Shut up, Ray." Devin, the tall one, cracked his knuckles. "I'm tired of people thinking they can tell me what to do." He shoved Elliot's wheelchair again, harder this time. The chair tipped. Elliot hit the pavement with a sickening thud. His head bounced once. A woman in the crowd screamed. Still, nobody moved to help. Mara did. No warning, no theatrical wind-up. She closed the distance in 3 strides. Devin swung at her, wild, telegraphed, all strength and no technique. She redirected his wrist with her left hand, stepped inside his reach, controlled his elbow with her right, and dropped him to his knees in under 2 seconds. His face hit the boardwalk planks hard enough to split his lip. "What the—" Marcus lunged at her from the side. Titan moved, not attacking, positioning, blocking Marcus's path. Teeth visible now, a low rumble building in his chest. Marcus froze. "Oh, hell no." "He won't bite unless I tell him to." Mara kept Devin pinned with one knee against his spine. "But if you move again, I will tell him to." Ray backed up, hands raised. We're done. We're done, okay? No. Mara's voice stayed level. You're not done. You're going to help me get this man back in his chair. You're going to apologize, and then you're going to stay here until the police arrive. Devon tried to twist free. You can't make us. Mara applied pressure to a nerve cluster in his shoulder. He yelped. I can make you do whatever I want. Or Titan can. Your choice. Get him up. Mara nodded toward Elliot. Now. Ray and Marcus moved slowly, carefully lifting Elliot back into his wheelchair. The older man's hands trembled violently. Thank you, Elliot whispered. I thought they were going to... You're safe now, sir. Mara kept Devon pinned. What's your name? Elliot. Elliot Grayson. Mr. Grayson, do you know these men? His eyes widened slightly. Too much hesitation. No, never seen them before. You're lying. Devon laughed into the boardwalk. Old man can't even lie right. Shut your mouth, Mara pressed harder. He grunted. Mr. Grayson, I'm Navy. You're Gulf War, judging by the cap. We don't lie to each other. So I'll ask again. Do you know why they attacked you? Elliot's jaw tightened. 40 seconds of silence. Then, I filed a complaint 3 weeks ago against a veterans housing charity. Marcus's head snapped up. Yo, we didn't know about no complaint. Marcus, shut the hell up. Devon spat blood. But it was too late. Mara's expression hardened. What charity? Golden Horizons Veterans Fund. Elliot's voice cracked. They've been stealing disability grants. Federal money meant for housing. I reported them to the Inspector General. And then last week, I got a letter, unsigned, said I should withdraw my testimony or I'd regret it. And you didn't go to the police? I'm in a wheelchair, miss. Who's going to believe me over a non-profit with good PR? Devon started laughing. You really thought you could mess with them? You thought you mattered? Mara yanked him to his feet. Who sent you? I want a lawyer. You'll need a surgeon if you don't answer me. Titan growled. The sound made everyone within 20 feet step back. Devon's confidence cracked. I don't know names, all right? We got paid through an app, cash transfer. Instructions said rough him up, make him scared. That's it. How much? 500 each. Mara felt something cold settle in her chest. $1,500 to terrorize a disabled veteran, to silence someone who exposed corruption. Who gave you the instructions? Some guy. Never saw his face. He contacted Marcus first. I didn't know, Marcus cut in. I swear, I thought it was just some debt collection thing. Ray nodded frantically. We didn't know he was a vet. We didn't know. You knew enough. Mara's voice could have cut steel. You knew he couldn't defend himself. You knew nobody would help him. You knew exactly what you were doing. Sirens wailed in the distance. Finally. But before relief could settle, a black SUV screeched to a stop at the curb. 2 men stepped out. Older, 40s, maybe 50s, expensive suits, sunglasses. Not cops, not random. One pointed at Elliot. You should have listened when you had the chance. Mara's entire demeanor shifted. Titan, alert. The German Shepherd moved in front of Elliot's wheelchair, stance wide, ready. The second man from the SUV spoke. This doesn't concern you, miss. Walk away. I'm not walking anywhere. You don't know what you're getting into. Then explain it to me. The first man stepped closer. That man behind you destroyed good people's reputations, a charity that helps thousands of veterans, all because he wanted attention. Elliot's voice shook with rage. You stole $30 million. We managed resources appropriately. You bought vacation homes with grant money. The man's face went cold. Accusations like that ruin lives, Mr. Grayson. We gave you a chance to retract them. By sending thugs to beat me? by offering you a peaceful resolution. You chose violence. Mara couldn't believe what she was hearing. He chose violence? He's in a wheelchair. He chose to lie about good people. Show me the financial records then. Prove him wrong. Silence. The second man reached inside his jacket. Titan's growl deepened. Mara moved between Elliot and the SUV. Don't. We're leaving, and Mr. Grayson is coming with us. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. The man drew a pistol. The crowd scattered. Screams erupted. Mara didn't flinch. You really want to shoot a Navy SEAL on a public boardwalk? His hand wavered. You're bluffing. Try me. Titan barked once. Sharp. Authoritative. The man with the gun hesitated. You could see the calculation in his eyes. Too many witnesses. Too many phones recording. Too much risk. But he didn't lower the weapon. Last chance, he said. Walk away. I don't abandon people who need help. Then you're as stupid as he is. Behind them, Devon tried to crawl away. Mara's boot came down on his hand. You move, you lose fingers. Everything hung in balance. Gun raised, dog ready, crowd frozen. Then the sirens got louder. 2 police cruisers pulled up. 4 officers emerged, weapons drawn. Drop the gun! Hands where we can see them! The man lowered his pistols slowly, deliberately, like he was doing them a favor. This is a misunderstanding, officers. We're with Golden Horizons Veterans Fund. This woman assaulted 3 young men and threatened us. One of the cops, older, gray in beard, looked at Mara. That true? Those 3 men attacked Mr. Grayson. I intervened. These 2 showed up after and pulled a weapon. The officer's eyes shifted to Elliot. Sir, what happened? Elliot opened his mouth, closed it, looked at the men from the SUV. Fear. Pure, paralyzing fear. Sir, the cop repeated. Elliot's voice barely came out. I don't want any trouble. Tell them, Mara urged. Tell them what you told me. I can't. Mr. Grayson, you don't understand. His eyes filled with tears. They know where I live. They know my daughter's name. They know everything. If I talk, they'll... One of the suited men smiled. Will what, Mr. Grayson? The cop stepped forward. Everybody calm down. We're going to sort this out at the station. That won't be necessary. The first man produced a business card. I'm Roger Haynes, director of Golden Horizons. Call our legal team. They'll explain this is a simple misunderstanding. I still need statements from everyone involved. Of course, we're happy to cooperate. But Mara saw it. The subtle nod Haynes gave to Devon. The way Marcus looked at his phone. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. The police separated everyone, took names, checked IDs. Mara kept Titan close to Elliot's wheelchair. The old veteran was shaking so badly he couldn't hold a water bottle. Why won't you tell them? She asked quietly. Because telling the truth got me beat up on a public boardwalk in front of hundreds of people, and nobody helped me. His voice broke. Nobody except you. And now you're involved too. And I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry. Don't apologize for being brave. Brave? He laughed bitterly. I'm terrified. Brave people are always terrified. That's what makes it brave. Titan rested his head against Elliot's leg. The gentleness in the gesture made the old man cry. What kind of world is this? Elliot whispered. Where people get punished for doing the right thing? Mara didn't have an answer, but she knew one thing for certain. This wasn't random violence. This was organized corruption. And it went deeper than 3 thugs and 2 men in suits. This was war, and Elliot Grayson had just enlisted a Navy SEAL, whether he wanted to or not. The police let everyone go 2 hours later. No arrests. Not even Devon and his crew. Conflicting statements, the gray-bearded officer explained. We need more evidence before we can charge anyone. Mara watched Roger Haynes walk back to his SUV. He turned once, locked eyes with her, smiled. That smile said everything. You can't touch us. Elliot sat in his wheelchair by the patrol car, head down, defeated. Mr. Grayson, Mara crouched beside him. Where do you live? Lincoln Towers, senior apartments off Harbor Drive. You can't go back there tonight. His head snapped up. That's my home. And they know the address. You heard them. They know where you live. They know your daughter. I don't have anywhere else to go. Yes, you do, Mara stood. You're coming with me. Miss, I can't. It's Lieutenant, and you can. Titan, heel. The German Shepherd moved to her side instantly. Elliot's voice cracked. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. I know enough. You're a Gulf War veteran who reported corruption and got beaten for it. That's all I need to know. But your career, if you get involved with this mess, I'm already involved. So let's stop wasting time arguing about it. Mara pushed his wheelchair toward her truck, a dark blue Ford F-150, parked 3 blocks away. Nobody followed them, but she checked anyway. Old habits. Getting Elliot into the passenger seat took effort. His legs didn't cooperate. His left arm shook too badly to grip anything. I'm sorry, he kept saying. I'm sorry you have to do this. Stop apologizing. Mara folded the wheelchair, loaded it in the truck bed. You didn't do anything wrong. Titan jumped into the back seat, panting slightly. As Mara drove, Elliot stared out the window. Silent for 10 minutes. Then, my daughter's in Phoenix. She doesn't know about any of this. Does she call you often? Every Sunday, like clockwork. That's today. I know. His voice dropped. I don't know what to tell her. Tell her the truth. The truth terrifies her. She already worries about me being alone. If she finds out I got attacked... He stopped. She'll make me move to Phoenix. Put me in a facility. I can't do that. I can't lose my independence. Mara understood. Freedom mattered more than safety to men like Elliot. Always had. Then we make sure she doesn't have to worry. How? By fixing this. Elliot laughed, harsh, bitter. You can't fix corruption, Lieutenant. Not when it's got money and lawyers and connections. Watch me. Mara's apartment was small. 3rd floor, no elevator. She carried Elliot up the stairs while Titan bounded ahead, scouting. Inside, she set him on the couch, got him water, made coffee. I need names, she said. Everyone involved with Golden Horizons. Board members, staff, donors, everyone. I have files at my apartment. Too dangerous. Then I can't help you. Mara pulled out her phone. Give me your address. I'll get them. No, absolutely not. If they're watching... They won't see me. Lieutenant. Mara. And I've extracted intelligence from hostile territory. I think I can handle one senior apartment building. She went alone. Told Elliot to stay put. Left Titan with him for protection. He won't leave your side, she said. And if anyone tries to come in, he'll know before they touch the door. Elliot looked at the massive German Shepherd. Will he attack? Only if I tell him to, or if you're in immediate danger. He's trained to assess threats independently. That's comforting and terrifying. Good. It should be both. Lincoln Towers looked exactly like she expected. Dated brick exterior, overgrown bushes, security camera at the entrance, probably not working. Mara entered through a side door, propped open with a brick. No alarm. 3rd floor, Unit 314. The door was unlocked. That stopped her cold. She pulled her phone, texted Elliot. "Did you lock your door this morning?" His response came fast. "Always, double locked. Why?" Someone had been here. Maybe still was. Mara pushed the door open slowly. Silence. No movement. But the apartment had been searched. Drawers pulled out. Cushions slashed. Papers scattered everywhere. They'd torn the place apart. She moved through each room, checked closets, under the bed, behind the shower curtain. Empty. Whoever did this was already gone. The files Elliot mentioned were missing. Completely. Not even scraps left behind. But searchers always miss something. Mara checked the freezer. Nothing. The toilet tank. Nothing. Then she saw it. A heating vent in the bedroom. Loose screws. Inside, a flash drive wrapped in plastic. She pocketed it, photographed the apartment's destruction, and left the same way she came. Back at her place, Elliot's face went white when she showed him the photos. "They destroyed everything." "Not everything." Mara held up the flash drive. "What's on this?" His eyes lit up. "Financial records. Everything I submitted to the Inspector General. Bank transfers, shell company registrations, forged invoices. Proof they've been stealing for 4 years." "Why didn't you give this to the police?" "Because half the board has connections to local law enforcement. Donations, fundraisers, golf buddies. I couldn't risk it disappearing into evidence and never being seen again." Mara plugged the drive into her laptop. Hundreds of files, spreadsheets, PDFs, email chains. And it was damning. Golden Horizons Veterans Fund had received $83 million in federal grants over 4 years. Only $19 million went to actual veteran housing. The rest? Offshore accounts, luxury property purchases, consulting fees to companies that didn't exist. "My God," Mara whispered. "How did you even find this?" "I worked in accounting before my injury. Numbers don't lie. I noticed discrepancies in their annual report. Started digging. Requested public records. Found more holes. The deeper I went, the worse it got." "And nobody else noticed?" "People see what they want to see. Golden Horizons has great PR. They hold charity galas, post feel-good stories on social media, get endorsements from politicians. Who's going to question them?" "You did." "And look where that got me." He gestured to his destroyed apartment photos. Beaten, threatened, and homeless. "You're not homeless. You're protected." "For how long? You can't babysit me forever, Lieutenant." "I can until we expose this." "How?" "The police won't help. The media won't touch it without multiple sources. The Inspector General's office takes months to investigate. I'll be dead before anything happens." Mara sat back. He was right. Traditional channels wouldn't work fast enough. She needed leverage. Immediate, undeniable leverage. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. The text read, "Tell Elliot to withdraw his complaint by tomorrow, or his daughter in Phoenix learns what happened to her mother." Elliot's face drained. "What does it say?" Mara showed him. His whole body started shaking. "My wife. She died 7 years ago. Car accident. But Emily, my daughter, she doesn't know the truth. She thinks it was just bad luck." "What really happened?" "The brakes failed. Police ruled it mechanical failure. But Sarah had the car serviced 2 days before. Everything was fine. And then his voice broke. If Emily finds out someone killed her mother, it'll destroy her.
Did you suspect Golden Horizons back then?
No, I didn't even know they existed until 2 years ago. But now, he looked at the flash drive. Now I wonder if I was asking too many questions even then. If Sarah died because I was getting too close to something. Mara felt rage building. Cold. Focused. Operational. We're not backing down. Lieutenant, they'll hurt Emily. Not if we move first. How fast can you get in touch with your daughter? She's at church. Won't have her phone on until after service. When does service end? 2 hours. Good. That gives us time. Mara opened a new browser, started typing. I'm going to send this flash drive to 3 journalists simultaneously. Major outlets. People who can't be bought. They'll kill us before the story runs. Not if we go public first. Right now, social media, every platform, full transparency. Elliot stared at her. You're serious? Completely. We record a video. You explain everything.
Show the evidence.
Tag every news organization, every veterans group, every politician. Make it too big to ignore and too public to silence. That'll make me a target. You're already a target. This makes you too visible to kill quietly. He was quiet for 90 seconds. Thinking. Calculating. Then, okay, let's do it. They set up Mara's laptop camera. Titan lay at Elliot's feet, visible in the frame. Elliot took a breath, looked directly at the lens. My name is Elliot Grayson. I'm a disabled Gulf War veteran. And today, 3 men beat me in public because I exposed corruption in Golden Horizons Veterans Fund. He spoke for 11 minutes, showed documents on screen, named names, detailed the fraud, explained the intimidation. His voice shook, but he didn't stop. Mara uploaded it everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Tagged every major news outlet, every veterans organization, congressional oversight committees. Within 20 minutes, the video had 4,000 views. Within an hour, 40,000. By evening, it went viral. Mara's phone exploded with calls, news requests, interview offers, threats. So many threats. One voicemail stood out. You just killed him. And yourself. Nobody can protect you now. Elliot heard it. Maybe this was a mistake. No, this was survival. Mara deleted the voicemail. They can't make you disappear if 1 million people are watching. But they can still hurt us. Let them try. Titan's ears perked up. He moved to the door. Low growl. Mara grabbed her sidearm from the bedroom. Checked the window. A black SUV idled at the curb. Same one from the boardwalk. Get away from the windows, she ordered. Elliot wheeled backward. Are they coming up? Not yet. Just watching. For how long? As long as it takes to scare us. But Mara wasn't scared. She was ready. Her phone rang. Private number. She answered. Lieutenant Quinn. Roger Haynes' voice came through. Calm. Almost friendly. That video was a very stupid move. Looked pretty smart from where I'm sitting. 250,000 views and climbing. Views don't protect you. They make you famous. And famous targets die in memorable ways. Is that a threat? It's a prediction. You inserted yourself into something you don't understand. I understand fraud. I understand intimidation. And I understand cowards who beat disabled veterans. Haynes laughed. You think you're a hero, but you're just collateral damage waiting to happen. Then come try to damage me. I'll be here. Oh, we will. But not tonight. Tonight we let you think you've won. Tomorrow, we'll show you what losing really looks like." He hung up. Elliot looked at her. "What did he say?" "That they're coming." "When?" "He didn't specify." "What do we do?" Mara checked her weapon. Full magazine, one in the chamber. "We wait. We watch. And we don't back down."
Outside, the SUV finally pulled away, but Mara knew they'd be back.
Elliot's daughter called at 9 p.m. He stared at the phone like it might explode. 3 rings. 4. "Answer it," Mara said. "I can't. She'll hear it in my voice. She always does." "Then she'll hear strength, not fear." He answered on the 6th ring. "Emily?" "Dad! Oh my God, are you okay? I just saw... Someone sent me a video. You were attacked? Why didn't you call me?" Mara could hear her panic through the speaker. Elliot closed his eyes. "I'm fine, sweetheart. I'm safe." "Safe? Dad, you got beaten, and you're all over the internet saying some charity tried to kill you." "Not tried. They just wanted to scare me." "Well, it worked. I'm scared. I'm booking a flight right now. I'll be there tomorrow morning." "No, Emily, don't argue with me. You're not staying there alone." "I'm not alone. I'm with someone who's helping." Silence. Then, "Who?" Elliot looked at Mara. She nodded. "A Navy SEAL.
She stopped the attack. She's keeping me safe.
A Navy SEAL? Dad, what is happening? This sounds insane." "It is insane, but it's also true, and I need you to stay in Phoenix." "Absolutely not." "Emily, listen to me. The people who did this, they know about you. They threatened you. If you come here, you put yourself in danger." Her breath caught. "They threatened me?" "Yes, so please, stay where you are. Stay safe. Let me handle this." "You can't handle this. You're in a wheelchair." The words hung there. Brutal. Honest. She gasped immediately after saying them. "Dad, I didn't mean—" "You did, and you're right. I can't fight them physically, but I can fight them legally, and that's exactly what I'm doing." "By posting videos? By making yourself a target?" "By telling the truth. Someone has to." Emily's voice broke. "I already lost Mom. I can't lose you too." Elliot's hands trembled. "You won't. I promise." "You can't promise that." "Then I'll try my damnedest. How's that?" A long pause, then a shaky laugh. "That's more honest." "I learned from the best. Mom always said you were stubborn. She was right about most things." "Dad?" Emily's voice dropped. "Is this about Mom? The people you're investigating? Did they have something to do with her accident?" Mara watched Elliot's face crumble. "I don't know," he whispered. "But I'm going to find out." After he hung up, Elliot sat motionless for 5 minutes, just breathing, processing. "She's terrified," he finally said. "She loves you. That's what love looks like when someone you care about is in danger." "I told her I'd be okay. I don't know if that's true." "Then we make it true." Titan's head lifted, alert, focused on the door again. Mara moved to the window. The SUV was back. But this time 2 men got out, started walking toward her building. "We've got company." Elliot wheeled closer. "What do we do?" "You stay here. I go down." "That's suicide." "That's tactical advantage." "Titan, guard." The German shepherd positioned himself between Elliot and the door. Ready. Waiting. Mara grabbed her sidearm, tucked it behind her back. left the apartment, locked the door. She met them in the lobby. Same two men from the boardwalk, Roger Haynes and his partner, taller, quieter, meaner looking. Lieutenant Quinn. Haynes smiled like they were old friends. We need to talk. So talk. Privately. This is private enough. The tall one stepped forward. We're not asking. Mara didn't move. And I'm not going anywhere with you. Haynes sighed. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Good. I specialize in making things hard for people like you. People like me? You don't even know who I am. I know exactly who you are. You're a thief who preys on veterans. You're a coward who sends thugs to beat disabled men. And you're a criminal who's about to spend the next decade in federal prison. Haynes laughed. Actually laughed. Is that what you think? That your little video changes anything? It's already changed everything. 500,000 views, trending on 3 platforms, news stations calling for comment, congressional offices asking questions. Yeah, I'd say it changed things. Views aren't evidence. Lawyers will crush this in discovery. Elliot Grayson is a disgruntled veteran with no credibility. He has financial records, bank transfers, email chains. That's not credibility, that's proof. Proof that can disappear. Already backed up in 6 different locations, including with a federal prosecutor friend of mine. So even if you kill us, the evidence stays alive. The tall man's hand moved toward his jacket. Mara's hand moved faster, gun drawn, aimed center mass in under a second. Don't. He froze. Haynes raised both hands slowly. Easy, Lieutenant. We're just here to make a deal. I don't deal with criminals. Everyone deals. That's how the world works, not my world. Then you're living in a fantasy. Let me tell you how this plays out. That video gets discredited. Elliot gets painted as mentally unstable. You get investigated for assault. Those 3 boys from the boardwalk, they're filing charges. Self-defense becomes assault when you're military attacking civilians. Your career ends. Elliot ends up in a care facility, and Golden Horizons continues helping thousands of veterans. By stealing from them. By managing resources, there's a difference. 83 million in grants. 19 million actually spent on housing. Where'd the rest go, Haynes? His smile faltered, just for a second. You have no idea what you're talking about. Offshore accounts in the Caymans, luxury condos in Miami bought through Shell LLCs, consulting payments to companies that don't exist. Should I keep going? The tall man spoke for the first time. She knows too much. Clearly. Haynes' eyes went cold. Which is why we're offering one final chance. Walk away. Take Elliot somewhere quiet. Retract the allegations. Everyone lives. And if we don't, then everyone doesn't. That's a death threat. You just threatened to murder a federal officer and a protected witness. Haynes stepped closer, voice dropping. A threat requires proof. And right now, it's your word against ours. Who do you think people will believe? A respected charity director? Or a disgraced SEAL with a history of violence? I don't have a history of violence. You will by tomorrow. Assault charges, restraining orders, psychological evaluation requests. We've already filed the paperwork. Mara's jaw tightened. You can't fabricate that. Watch us. We have lawyers on retainer who could make Jesus look like a war criminal. What chance do you think you have? The truth. The truth is whatever we say it is. Something snapped in Mara. Not her discipline, not her training, but her patience. Get out. Excuse me? I said get out of my building before I arrest you for trespassing, criminal threats, and conspiracy to commit murder. You're not a cop, Lieutenant. You have no authority here. I have a gun and a very short temper. That's authority enough. The tall man's hand moved again. Mara fired, a warning shot into the wall 6 inches from his head. The sound echoed like thunder. Both men jumped. Haynes's face went white. The next one goes through bone. Your choice. They backed toward the door, slowly, hands visible. This isn't over, Haynes said. I know, but tonight is. Don't come back. After they left, Mara's hands shook. Adrenaline crash. She leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Upstairs, she found Elliot standing, actually standing, holding onto the kitchen counter for support. Titan beside him, ready to catch him if he fell. You fired your weapon. Warning shot. They'll use that against you. Let them. I'm done playing nice. Elliot lowered himself back into the wheelchair. What did they want? To scare us into backing down. Did it work? What do you think? He smiled, tired, genuine. I think you're the most stubborn person I've ever met. I've been called worse. Mara's phone buzzed. Email from an unknown address. Subject line. You were warned. She opened it. Photos. Dozens of them. Emily in Phoenix, getting coffee, walking to her car, entering her apartment building. All taken within the last 3 hours. Time-stamped. Geotagged. Proof they were watching her right now. The message below read, withdraw the complaint by sunrise, or she never makes it to work tomorrow. Elliot saw Mara's face. What is it? She showed him. All the color drained from his cheeks. They're in Phoenix. They're watching her. We need to call her, right now. Elliot dialed. It went to voicemail. He tried again. Voicemail. She's asleep. She always turns her phone off at night. Give me her address. Why? Because I'm calling Phoenix PD, getting a patrol car to her building. They won't believe you. They will when I tell them there's a credible threat against a witness in a federal fraud investigation. Mara made the call, gave Emily's address, explained the situation. The dispatcher promised to send a unit immediately. 20 minutes later, a Phoenix officer called back. Ma'am, we did a welfare check. Miss Grayson is fine. She came to the door. We explained the situation. She's shaken, but unharmed. Did you see anyone suspicious? No, ma'am, but we're keeping a unit nearby for the rest of the night. Relief flooded through Elliot. Thank God. But Mara wasn't relieved. She was calculating. They sent those photos to prove they could reach her, but they didn't actually hurt her. Why? Because they wanted to scare us. No, because they're not ready to cross that line yet. Murder draws federal attention. Intimidation is harder to prosecute. They're still hoping we'll fold. Will we? Mara looked at him. Really looked at him. Saw the fear, the exhaustion, the weight of everything pressing down on him. That's your call, Elliot. This is your fight. I'm just backup. He was quiet for a long time, staring at the photos of his daughter, the only family he had left. Then he looked up. If we back down, they win. And they'll do this to someone else. Some other veteran who tries to speak up. Some other family that gets destroyed. Yes. So we don't back down. You sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Mara smiled. That's the right answer. At 2 a.m., Mara's phone rang. Blocked number. She answered. A woman's voice, young, scared. Is this Lieutenant Quinn? Yes, who's this? My name's Rebecca. I worked for Golden Horizons, in accounting. I saw the video, the one Elliot posted. Mara's pulse quickened. Go on. Everything he said is true, all of it. I have proof, more than what he has. I've been documenting everything for 8 months. But I was too scared to come forward. And now? Now I'm more scared of staying silent. Can you protect me? Where are you? San Diego, hotel downtown. I left my apartment tonight. I think they know I'm the leak. What makes you think that? Because someone broke into my place this afternoon, trashed it, same way they trashed Elliot's. I got home, saw it, and ran. Mara looked at Elliot. He nodded. Give me the hotel name. I'll come get you. You promise you can keep me safe? I promise I'll try. That's all anyone can promise. Silence. Then, Holiday Inn on Pacific Highway, room 412. Please hurry. Mara grabbed her keys. Elliot, you stay here with Titan. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone. You're going alone? It's safer that way. Titan will protect you. I'll be back in an hour. She was out the door before he could argue. The drive took 15 minutes. Mara parked 3 blocks away, approached on foot, checked sightlines, watched for tails. Hotel lobby was empty, except for a night clerk, half asleep at the desk. 4th floor, room 412. Mara knocked softly. Rebecca? It's Lieutenant Quinn. No answer. She knocked again. Rebecca? Still nothing. Every instinct screamed danger. Mara tried the door. Unlocked. She pushed it open slowly. The room was dark. Empty. No luggage. No signs anyone had been there. Her phone buzzed. Text from the same blocked number. Looking for someone, Lieutenant? Then another photo. Rebecca, tied to a chair, gagged, terrified. The message below. You really thought we'd let her talk? Come alone to the address below. You have 30 minutes, or she dies screaming. Mara's blood went cold. This wasn't intimidation anymore. This was war. Mara stared at the photo. Rebecca's eyes, wide with terror. The rope cutting into her wrists, blood on her lip. 30 minutes. She called Elliot. He answered on the first ring. Did you find her? It was a setup. They have her. They want me to come alone. Don't. It's a trap. I know. Then call the police. Call the FBI. Call someone. By the time they mobilize, she'll be dead. I have 28 minutes. Mara, you can't. I have to. She reached out because of us. Because she saw our video and thought we could protect her. I'm not letting her die for that. Then I'm coming with you. No, you stay put. If this goes wrong, you're the only one who can finish this. The flash drive, the evidence. You make sure it gets to the right people. Elliot's voice cracked. Don't talk like you're not coming back. I'm coming back. But if I don't, you know what to do. She hung up before he could argue. The address led to an abandoned warehouse off National Avenue. Industrial district. No cameras. No witnesses. Perfect place for murder. Mara arrived with 4 minutes to spare. Checked her weapon. Full magazine. 1 spare. Not enough if they brought an army. She texted the number. I'm here. The response came instantly. Walked through the front door. Hands visible. No weapon. No phone. She typed back. I see Rebecca first. Proof of life. A video arrived. 10 seconds. Rebecca, crying, mumbling through the gag. Alive. Terrified. Behind her, someone laughed. Mara left her phone in the truck. Not her gun. That stayed tucked in the small of her back, hidden under her jacket. The warehouse door creaked open. Darkness inside. Emergency lights casting long shadows. Hands up, Lieutenant! Roger Haynes's voice echoed from somewhere deep in the building. Mara raised both hands, walked forward slowly. Fluorescent lights flickered on. She was in a large, open space. Concrete floor, rusted machinery. And in the center, Rebecca, tied to a metal chair. 5 men stood around her. Haynes, his tall partner, Devon and his 2 friends from the boardwalk, all armed now, pistols drawn. "That's far enough," Haynes stepped forward. "See? She's alive, just like we promised." "Let her go." "Not yet. First, we talk about the future." "There's nothing to talk about." "I disagree. You've caused significant problems for us, Lieutenant. That video has generated uncomfortable attention. Donors are asking questions. Board members are nervous. You've disrupted a very profitable operation." "Good. But it's not fatal. Not yet. See, public attention is fickle. This story will fade. People will forget. And we'll continue our work. Stealing from veterans. Reallocating resources. Someone has to make difficult decisions about how money gets spent. And you decided to spend it on mansions and offshore accounts." Haynes smiled. "I decided to be compensated for my efforts. Is that so wrong?" "When you're stealing from disabled veterans? Yes." "Disabled veterans who would waste that money anyway. We provide real services, housing, programs, support networks. We just take a reasonable management fee." $64 million isn't reasonable. His smile faded. "You've done your homework." "Elliot did his homework. I'm just finishing it." Elliot Grayson is about to have a very unfortunate accident. Gas leak in his apartment. Tragic. A disabled veteran, living alone, unable to escape. Very sad. Mara's blood turned to ice. "If you touch him, you'll what? You're in no position to threaten anyone, Lieutenant. You walked into my warehouse, alone, unarmed. You think I'm unarmed?" "I think you're stupid enough to try something. Devon, search her." Devon approached, gun raised, reached behind her back, found the pistol, pulled it free. "Told you," Haynes laughed. "Navy SEALs think they're invincible, but you bleed just like everyone else." Mara stayed calm. "What do you want?" "Retraction. Public apology. You and Elliot admit you were wrong. Mentally unstable. The beating traumatized you both. You fabricated evidence to get attention. Nobody will believe that. They will when you say it on camera, when you show remorse, when you beg for forgiveness. And then you kill us anyway. No, then you disappear. Quietly. Maybe a nice facility for Elliot. Somewhere comfortable. Somewhere he can't cause trouble. And you? Dishonorable discharge. Court-martial for assault. Prison. Your choice." Rebecca made muffled sounds through the gag, eyes wild, trying to say something. "What about her?" Mara asked. "She's insurance. If you cooperate, she lives. If you don't, she dies first. And we make you watch." "You're a coward, Haynes." "I'm a realist. The world runs on money and power. I have both. You have neither. Simple math." Mara glanced at Rebecca again. The young woman was shaking her head frantically, trying to communicate something. Then Mara saw it. Rebecca's hands, tied behind the chair. Not just tied, holding something. A small object. Phone? Recorder? She'd been recording this entire conversation. Smart girl. Mara needed to keep Haynes talking. "Who killed Elliot's wife?" Haynes paused. "What?" "Sarah Grayson. 7 years ago. Car accident. Brake failure. Was that you?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "You're lying. Elliot started asking questions back then about veteran charity fraud. Different organization, same game. She died 2 days after he filed a complaint. Convenient timing." Haynes' face went dark. That was before my time. But you know who did it. Silence. The tall man spoke up. Boss, we don't need to answer her questions. No, Marcus, I want to hear this. Haynes stepped closer to Mara. You think you've figured something out? Some grand conspiracy? I think corruption in veteran charities has been going on for decades. I think people like you have been stealing billions. And I think anyone who threatens to expose you ends up dead. Interesting theory. Prove me wrong. Haynes stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. You know what? You're partially right. There is a system, a network. Organizations that coordinate, that share resources, that protect each other. And yes, sometimes people who threaten that system have accidents. But Sarah Grayson? He shook his head. That really was an accident. Wrong place, wrong time. Bad luck. I don't believe you. I don't care what you believe. The truth is, Elliot's wife died because she was a distracted driver who didn't maintain her vehicle. Nothing more sinister than human error. Mara saw Rebecca's eyes. The woman was shaking her head again, harder. She knew something. What about the others? Mara pressed. How many veterans have you silenced over the years? None. We don't kill veterans. That would be counterproductive. But you kill witnesses. Witnesses who threaten the greater good? Sometimes. Rarely. Only when absolutely necessary.
And Rebecca is necessary?
Rebecca stole confidential financial documents. She violated her employment contract. She committed corporate espionage. Yes, that's necessary. Rebecca made desperate sounds through the gag. Haynes walked over to her, pulled the gag down. You have something to say? He's lying, her voice came out hoarse. Sarah Grayson didn't die in an accident. I found the records, payments to a mechanic in 2018, $50,000, the week before her car failed. I have proof. The warehouse went silent. Haynes's face changed. Surprise. Then anger. Then something colder. Where are these records? Already sent them to the FBI, to journalists, before you grabbed me. You think I'd come here without insurance? Haynes pulled his phone, made a call. Check her email. Everything. Now. Pause. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. Do it now. He hung up, turned to Rebecca. You're bluffing. Try me. Even if you sent files, we have lawyers who will bury them in litigation for years. Not if they're already public. I scheduled them to auto-publish in 6 hours, unless I cancel it, which I can't do while I'm tied to a chair. Mara felt admiration. This woman had outplayed them. Haynes looked at the tall man. Marcus, verify that. Marcus started typing on his phone. 30 seconds later. Boss, there's a countdown timer on her blog. File scheduled to publish at 8 a.m. I can't access them. They're password protected. What password? Rebecca smiled through the blood. Wouldn't you like to know? Haynes pulled his pistol, put it to her head. Tell me, now. Shoot me, and those files publish anyway. You lose either way. Maybe I don't care about losing. Maybe I just want you dead. Then you're stupider than I thought. He hit her, hard. The chair tipped over. Rebecca screamed. Mara moved. Training took over. She pivoted, grabbed Devon's wrist as he raised his gun, twisted the weapon free, shot Marcus in the leg. Marcus went down screaming. Devon swung at her. She ducked, drove her elbow into his throat, kicked his knee sideways. He collapsed. The other two thugs from the boardwalk raised their weapons. Mara fired twice. Both men dropped. Not dead, Leg shots. Neutralizing, not killing. Haynes still had his gun to Rebecca's head. The chair was on its side, Rebecca trapped beneath it. "Don't move or she dies!" Mara aimed at him. Center mass, 20 feet. Easy shot. "You move and you die." "Mexican standoff, Lieutenant, except I'm the only one willing to pull the trigger." "Are you sure about that?" "I've never killed anyone. You've killed dozens. Who's really the monster here?" "The person stealing from veterans and beating disabled men." "I'm a businessman. You're a trained killer. Who does society really fear?" Mara's finger tightened on the trigger. "Last chance. Put the gun down." "Or what? You shoot me, my finger twitches. She dies anyway. You willing to make that trade?" Rebecca's voice came weak from the floor. "Shoot him. The files are real. They'll publish anyway. Don't let him win." "Shut up." Haynes pressed the gun harder against her skull. Mara calculated angles, distances, odds. Then Rebecca did something unexpected. She spit in Haynes's face. He recoiled instinctively, just for a second. Gun moved 6 inches to the left. Mara fired. The bullet hit Haynes's shoulder, spun him around. His gun clattered across the concrete. Mara was on him in 2 strides, kicked the weapon away, pressed her boot against his bleeding shoulder. He screamed. "Who killed Sarah Grayson?" "I told you, it was an accident." She pressed harder. "Who paid the mechanic?" "I don't know." "Rebecca said you have records, names, payment trails. Give them to me." "They're encrypted. I can't access them from here." "Then you better hope the FBI is feeling merciful when they arrest you." Sirens wailed outside, getting closer. Mara had called them before entering, told them to wait 10 minutes, then breach. Perfect timing. She untied Rebecca, helped her stand. The woman was shaking, but alive. "You okay?" "Better than him." Rebecca looked at Haynes, bleeding on the floor. "The files are real. Everything I said. Payment records, kill orders, names of everyone involved. It goes back 20 years. Dozens of organizations, hundreds of victims." "How did you get all this?" "I'm an accountant. I follow money. And when you follow dirty money long enough, you find bodies." Police flooded in, guns drawn, shouting commands. Mara lowered her weapon, raised her hands. "Lieutenant Mara Quinn, Navy. These men are under arrest for kidnapping, assault, and conspiracy to commit murder." The lead officer recognized her from the viral video. "You're the one from the boardwalk." "That's me. You always attract this much trouble?" "Only when I'm helping people." They arrested everyone. Haynes screaming about lawyers, Marcus crying about his leg, Devon unconscious from the throat strike. Rebecca gave her statement to the police, told them about the files, the evidence, the network of fraud spanning 2 decades. "This is bigger than Golden Horizons," she said. "This is nationwide, maybe international, and I have everything documented." The detective looked overwhelmed. "This is going to take months to investigate." "Then you better get started." Back outside, Mara called Elliot. "We're alive." His sob of relief was audible. "Thank God. Thank God. I thought, when you didn't call." "I'm fine. Rebecca's safe. Haynes is in custody. It's over." "Is it? Really?" Mara looked at Rebecca, being loaded into an ambulance. Looked at the warehouse where 5 men had tried to kill them both. "No," she admitted. "It's not over. But we won tonight. That counts for something."
What happens now?
"Now we finish this. Rebecca has evidence on everyone involved. We're going to bring down the whole network."
That could take years.
Then we take years. I'm not stopping until every single person who steals from veterans is behind bars. Elliot was quiet for a moment. Then, "You're one hell of a woman, Lieutenant." "Just doing my job." "Your job is fighting wars overseas. This is above and beyond." "This is a war too, just a different battlefield." The sun was rising when Mara finally got back to her apartment. Elliot was waiting. So was Titan, who nearly knocked her over with his greeting. "Easy, boy. I'm okay." Elliot wheeled close, grabbed her hand, squeezed hard. "I was terrified I'd lost you." "Takes more than 5 thugs and a corrupt charity director to kill me." "Don't joke, please. I've already buried one person I care about. I can't do it again." The weight of his words hit her. She crouched beside his wheelchair. "I'm not going anywhere. We're seeing this through. Together." "Promise?" "Promise." Outside, police were raiding Golden Horizon's headquarters, seizing computers, freezing accounts, arresting board members. The story was breaking on every news channel. Mara's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Interview requests, congressional inquiries, veterans organizations wanting to help. The video had done exactly what they needed it to do. It exposed the truth too publicly to hide. But Mara knew this was just the beginning. Rebecca's files would reveal connections nobody expected, names people trusted, organizations everyone believed in. The corruption went deeper than anyone imagined. And somewhere out there, the people at the very top were already planning their next move. Rebecca's files published at 8 a.m. exactly. Mara watched it happen on her laptop. Elliot beside her, Titan at their feet. The website crashed within minutes from traffic. Too many people trying to access it simultaneously. But the damage was done. Screenshots spread faster than wildfire. Names, dates, transactions. 20 years of fraud laid bare for the world to see. Elliot stared at the screen. "My God, I thought it was just Golden Horizons, but this..." 63 organizations across 40 states. Mara scrolled through the documents. All connected, all stealing. Over $4 billion in federal grants. How did nobody notice? People noticed. They just didn't survive long enough to prove it. Rebecca had documented 17 suspicious deaths. Veterans who filed complaints. Accountants who asked too many questions. Journalists who investigated too deeply. And there, buried in a file marked 2018 Loose Ends, was Sarah Grayson's name. Elliot saw it. His hands went to his face. "No, no, please, no." Mara opened the file. Payment records to a mechanic in Chula Vista. $50,000. 3 days before Sarah's brakes failed. Text messages between the mechanic and someone identified only as coordinator. "Job done. Brake line severed. No evidence. Looks like corrosion." Elliot made a sound Mara had never heard a human make. Grief and rage and devastation, all compressed into one horrible moment. They murdered her. They murdered my wife because I asked questions about a charity. "I'm sorry." "Sorry?" His voice broke. "Sorry doesn't bring her back. Sorry doesn't give me 7 years I lost with her. Sorry doesn't..." He couldn't finish, just sobbed. Mara let him. Sometimes there were no words. Sometimes people just needed to break. Titan moved closer, rested his head on Elliot's lap. The old veteran clutched the dog's fur like a lifeline. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Finally, Elliot spoke. "Who ordered it?" Mara checked the files, followed the payment trail. It led to a shell company, then another, then another. 6 layers deep, she found a name. Senator Richard Caldwell. Elliot's head snapped up. The Veterans Affairs Committee chairman? The same one. He's been on that committee for 12 years. Oversight responsibility for every veterans charity in the country. And he's been protecting them. More than protecting. He's been coordinating them, taking cuts from every organization. Rebecca estimates he's personally stolen over $200 million. A sitting U.S. senator, who won't be sitting much longer. Mara's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then she saw the caller ID resolve. FBI, Field Office, San Diego. Lieutenant Quinn? Speaking. This is Special Agent Linda Chen. I'm leading the investigation into Golden Horizons. We need to talk. Now. They met at a coffee shop in La Jolla. Agent Chen arrived with 3 other agents. All business. All serious. You've created quite a situation, Lieutenant. I stopped a kidnapping and exposed fraud. That's not a situation.
That's called doing the right thing. You also discharged a firearm in city limits, assaulted 5 individuals, and conducted an unauthorized investigation into a federal matter. Those 5 individuals were trying to kill me and a witness. Self-defense. We'll see what the DA says. Elliot wheeled forward. Are you seriously threatening to arrest her? After everything she did? Agent Chen's expression softened slightly. I'm not threatening anyone, Mr. Grayson. I'm explaining that this investigation is now federal, which means you both need to step back and let us handle it. You weren't handling it, Mara said. Nobody was. That's why we had to. And we appreciate your initiative. But this goes beyond San Diego, beyond California. We're talking about a nationwide conspiracy involving federal officials, nonprofit organizations, and potentially foreign money laundering. I know. I read Rebecca's files. So did we. All night. And what we found... Chen paused. Senator Caldwell is just the beginning. This network includes congressmen, state officials, charity executives, military contractors. People who are going to fight back hard. Let them fight. Lieutenant, these people have resources, power. They've already killed to protect themselves. You and Mr. Grayson need protection. We're fine. Roger Haynes posted bail 2 hours ago. Mara froze. What? High-priced lawyers. Argued he's not a flight risk. Judge agreed. He walked out of custody at 6 a.m. He kidnapped Rebecca. He tried to kill us. And he'll be prosecuted, eventually. But right now, he's free. And angry. Elliot's face went white. He knows where Mara lives. We're offering protective custody for both of you. Safe house, federal security, until the trial. How long will that take? Could be months, maybe longer. I can't hide for months. You can't fight armed criminals either, Mr. Grayson. I already did, and I won. Chen looked at Mara. Can you talk sense into him? He's right. Hiding doesn't solve anything. We expose this publicly, completely, and we make it impossible for them to retaliate without proving our point. That's not how this works. It's how it has to work. These people count on silence, on fear. We take that away from them. By making yourselves targets? By making ourselves too visible to silence quietly. Chen stared at her for a long moment. You're insane. I'm committed. There's a difference. You know what? Fine. Do it your way. But when this blows up in your face, don't say I didn't warn you. She stood to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, Lieutenant, I hope you're right. Someone needs to burn this network to the ground. Might as well be you. After the agents left, Elliot turned to Mara. What now? Now we go public. Again.
Bigger this time. How much bigger? Congressional testimony, national news.
We turn this into the biggest scandal in veteran affairs history.
They'll try to stop us. Let them try. That afternoon, Mara got a call from CBS News. They wanted an exclusive interview. Prime time. That night. She agreed on one condition. Elliot and Rebecca both appeared with her. The interview happened at 6 p.m. Millions watching live. The anchor, a veteran herself, didn't pull punches. Lieutenant Quinn, you've been called a vigilante, a hero, a troublemaker. How do you respond? I respond by asking why it took a 22-year-old SEAL and a disabled veteran to expose corruption that's been happening for 2 decades under federal oversight. The FBI says you interfered with an ongoing investigation. There was no ongoing investigation until we forced one to happen. Mr. Grayson, your wife died 7 years ago. You now believe she was murdered. Why? Elliot's voice was steady, strong. Because I have evidence, payment records, text messages, proof that someone sabotaged her car to stop me from exposing fraud. And the man who ordered it is still in office. Still making decisions about veteran welfare. Still pretending to care about people like me. You're talking about Senator Caldwell. I'm talking about a murderer who hides behind a flag pin and a Veterans Committee chairmanship. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth, and I have documents to prove it. The anchor turned to Rebecca. You worked inside this system. What did you see? I saw good people's donations stolen. I saw veterans denied housing while executives bought vacation homes. I saw anyone who questioned it get fired, threatened, or worse. I saw evil dressed up as charity. Why did you come forward now? Because I saw Elliot get beaten on camera and nobody helped him. Because I realized staying silent made me complicit. Because I'd rather die fighting this than live knowing I let it continue. The interview lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, the internet exploded. Senator Caldwell issued a statement denying everything, called them liars, threatened lawsuits, which was exactly what Mara wanted. Let him sue, she told Elliot. Discovery will destroy him. 3 days later, the FBI arrested Senator Caldwell at his home in Arlington, charged him with fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, and money laundering. He resigned from the Senate within hours. 2 weeks after that, 47 people across the country were indicted. Charity directors, board members, politicians, accountants, lawyers. The network was crumbling. But Mara knew it wasn't over. Not yet. One morning, she found Elliot on her balcony, staring at the ocean. Quiet. You okay? My daughter's flying in tomorrow. She wants to meet you. I'd like that. She keeps asking if I'm safe now, if it's really over. What do you tell her? I tell her the truth, that justice moves slow, that trials take time, that some of these people might never see a cell, but that we won. We exposed them. We took away their power to hide. That's a good answer, is it? Because I still don't have my wife back. I still lost 7 years believing her death was an accident, and no amount of arrests changes that. Mara sat beside him. You're right. Nothing changes that. But you stop them from doing it to someone else. Some other veteran who asks questions. Some other family that gets destroyed. That matters. Does it? It's the only thing that matters. Elliot was quiet for a long time. Then, Sarah would have liked you. She always said the world needed more people who give a damn. Sounds like she was smart. The smartest person I ever knew. He smiled, sad but genuine. She used to say that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing it anyway. She was definitely smart. A week later, Mara returned to duty. Her commanding officer called her in. "You've been cleared of all charges, self-defense ruling, justified use of force. But, Lieutenant, you need to understand, what you did was reckless. You could have been killed. Someone had to do something. That's not your job." "It became my job the moment I watched 3 men beat a disabled veteran and nobody stopped them." The officer sighed. "You're a hell of a SEAL, Quinn, but you're also a pain in my ass." "I've been called worse." "I'm sure you have. Dismissed." Mara walked out, found Titan waiting in the hall, scratched his ears. "What do you say, boy? Ready to go home?" Titan's tail wagged, but home wasn't her apartment anymore. Home was wherever people needed help, wherever injustice needed confronting, wherever someone had to stand up. 2 months later, Mara attended the first trial. Roger Haynes, charged with kidnapping, assault, conspiracy. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, found him guilty on all counts. 30 years in federal prison. As they led him away, he looked at Mara. No more smiles, no more confidence, just a broken man facing consequences. "Was it worth it?" he asked. "Destroying all those lives?" "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped letting you get away with it." 6 months after that, Mara received a letter from Elliot's daughter, Emily. "Dear Lieutenant Quinn, I wanted you to know my father is doing well. Better than he's been in years, actually. He's testified at 4 trials so far, helped convict 11 people. He says he's finally found his purpose again, making sure what happened to Mom never happens to anyone else. He also wanted me to tell you something. He said you gave him back his dignity. Not by saving him, by treating him like he mattered, like his voice deserved to be heard. Thank you for that. Thank you for seeing him when everyone else looked away. With gratitude, Emily." Mara kept that letter, read it when the world felt too heavy. Because that's what it was really about. Not the arrests, or the convictions, or the news coverage. It was about one moment on a boardwalk, when everyone kept walking, and one person stopped. One person said, "No more." One person decided that dignity mattered more than convenience. Strength isn't always loud. It isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just a 22-year-old woman and her dog stepping between violence and victim. Sometimes it's a disabled veteran refusing to stay silent even when silence would be safer. Sometimes it's a young accountant choosing truth over security. And sometimes justice doesn't arrive in a courtroom or a Senate hearing. Sometimes it arrives in a simple moment of courage when someone decides that doing nothing is no longer an option. The network of fraud was dismantled. $4 billion recovered. Thousands of veterans finally received the housing and support they'd been promised. But the real victory wasn't the money or the arrests. It was the message that ordinary people could stand against corruption and win, that silence could be broken, that one voice, raised at the right moment, could change everything. Elliot Grayson went back to the Piermont Harbor Boardwalk exactly 1 year after the attack. Not in a wheelchair this time. He'd been working with physical therapists, could walk short distances with a cane now. Mara walked beside him, Titan at heel. People recognized them. Some nodded, some thanked them, some just stared. One teenage boy approached, the same one who'd filmed the attack. "Mr. Grayson, I wanted to apologize for not helping, for just recording." Elliot looked at him. "You were scared. That's human." "I should have done something,"
You did do something, eventually. You shared that video. You made sure people saw the truth. That helped. Next time, I'll do more. Good. The world needs more people willing to do more. As they walked away, Mara asked, "You really forgave him?" He was a kid. We all fail sometimes. What matters is learning from it. You're a better person than I am. No, I'm just tired of carrying anger. Life's too short. They stood at the railing, watching the ocean, the same spot where everything started. You ever think about that day? Elliot asked. About how close it came to going differently? Every day. What if you hadn't been there? Someone else would have stepped up. You don't really believe that. Mara was quiet. No, I don't. But I want to. I want to believe that people are fundamentally good, that they'll do the right thing when it matters. And when they don't, then we do it for them. Titan barked once, alert, not aggressive, just present, reminding them he was there, ready, always. Because that's what loyalty looked like, what protection looked like, what standing beside someone meant. No conditions, no hesitation, just steady, unwavering presence when the world turned dark. Elliot reached down, scratched Titan's head. Good boy. Best damn dog I've ever known. Mara smiled. Second best. He's still mine. Fair enough. They stood there until sunset, not talking, just being. Two people who'd fought together, bled together, won together. And in that moment, standing on the boardwalk where it all began, they understood something profound. Justice wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about winning every fight or saving every victim. It was about showing up when showing up mattered most. It was about refusing to walk past suffering just because helping was inconvenient. It was about believing that one person's courage could inspire 1,000 others. The world was full of Roger Haynes. People who took advantage, people who hurt the vulnerable, people who counted on silence and fear. But the world was also full of people like Elliot Grayson, like Rebecca, like every veteran who refused to give up, even when giving up would be easier. And as long as those people existed, as long as someone was willing to step between cruelty and victim, as long as one voice refused to be silenced, hope remained. Not the easy kind, not the kind that came without cost, but the real kind. The kind built on sacrifice and courage and the absolute certainty that some things were worth fighting for. Mara Quinn didn't save Elliot Grayson that day on the boardwalk. They saved each other. And together, they proved that ordinary people wielding nothing but truth and determination could bring down empires of corruption. Because strength isn't measured in rank or weapons or power. It's measured in the choice to act when everyone else walks away. And on that choice, everything else is built.